kids. Sean here. Mostly metal. This is going to be a contest entry for Jeff Whitcher's Vinyl Destination. This is a YouTube channel that I follow. He's having a contest for hitting 500 subs. I'm pretty sure he's way over that by now. But this is kind of 5 albums that kind of influenced your musical taste or help guide your musical taste. First off, in the background, a friend of mine let me use a digital recorder, and we've been transitioning some tapes to digital. And I've got some old Metalworks, WPGU Metalworks. It was a college radio show that helped shape some of my musical tastes, if you will. We'll get more into that shortly. First off, if anyone knows this song, please let me know in the comments what it is. It's hard for me to understand the words. I tried doing a Google search on some of the words that I can make out and couldn't. It's a catchy song. I don't know who it is. I almost hesitate to say, but catchy chorus. I'm hoping I'm going to get a copyright strike and from YouTube. One of the few times I want to get a copyright strike so I can figure out what the fuck this song is. But if you guys know it, let me know in the comments. So we're going to talk about 5 albums here, kind of a little bit all over the spectrum. I could have easily picked 5 other albums. My musical taste, as you know by the title of my channel, is mostly metal. I listen to mostly metal, but I listen to a lot of other stuff too. There's rap, there's country, hip-hop. I started listening to jazz, blues, punk rock, heavy metal, thrash metal, death metal, black metal. I could make 5 of these videos probably with 5 different albums each time. But these were the first 5 that came to mind, so I'm going to start with these. First up, this is a band I never heard of until this album came out. I was in contact with a band, and they were talking about their influences, and they said Swans was a huge influence. Never heard Swans. But then this came out, To Be Kind, and I bought it, blind buy. This is the double CD version on Young God Records. I believe this came out in 2014. If anyone follows The Needle Drop on YouTube, this is one of the few albums he gave a 10 out of 10. That doesn't really, ratings don't mean anything, but he's kind of I don't agree with a lot of his musical ratings and whatnot, but to give a 10 out of 10 to something means it's perfect, and I would probably not argue with that. Swans is very hypnotic, very rhythmic. Takes time to get into. The first time you hear it, you probably aren't going to like it. It goes all over the place. Very trancey in a way. Lots of different musical styles here. Michael Gira is the ringleader. I think I've talked about Swans before on this channel, but yeah, this opened my mind to what music could be in a metal sense, but taking it to various extremes. Just because you play a Les Paul and have heavy drums and bass doesn't mean you just have to be this or that. You can be all of those things, plus any other musical style you might like, you can go ahead and pepper it in. So that's what Swans is. To me, I've bought every album after this one, and I've worked my way backwards. I think I almost own every Swans album, Children of God probably being my favorite. But this is a masterpiece, in my opinion, so I will link all this below. Be sure to check out Swans. Out of New York, I believe. Next up was my first introduction to, I hate to say pop punk, because that's going to turn people off the wrong way, because this is not what I would consider to be pop punk. Because when I hear that, I think Green Day, Offspring, shit like that. These guys were a lot heavier and a lot faster. But this album, Unknown Road by Pennywise, is a classic from start to finish. Kind of that California, West Coast, fast, catchy, singy, sing-along choruses, a lot of the whoa, whoa, whoas and whatnot. So this came out in 93, I think, according to the copyright, 93, 94. This was the first time I heard pop punk. To me, punk rock was Black Flag and maybe some Social Distortion. Dead Kennedys, Sex Pistols, and a friend of mine, Mike, brought a cassette in. We were cooks at a restaurant, and he put it in the tape deck, and I was like, dude, who's this? He's like, Pennywise, and we listened to this probably 4 times in one night, front to back, and it's great. So this was out on Epitaph, the big punk label, I think ran by one of the guys from Bad Religion, maybe. But yeah, this is don't let the pop punk, what I just said, steer you away. If you're a thrash fan, or you want your music fast, but punky, but catchy as well, you can't go wrong with Pennywise. I think they had a self-titled before this one. I think the next 4 albums are all great. Straight Ahead, I think, was one. Can't remember off the top of my head, but they all had catchy songs on them, so check out Pennywise. Next up is an album I'm not going to spend a ton of time on because you all know it. Master of Puppets, Metallica. Everybody knows Metallica. A lot of these songs, a lot of people like Ride the Lightning better. I like Master of Puppets better, just because Ride the Lightning has Escape on it, and I don't like that song. And to me, this is flawless from start to finish, so that's why I prefer this album. Plus, it's the first Metallica I believe I heard. A friend of mine had the cassette, but it didn't register with me. If you've seen my video on how I got into Metallica, you'll see this wasn't even the first Metallica I purchased. But it's still, to this day, one that I tend to gravitate to, and it kind of shaped my love for thrash metal. So Metallica, Master of Puppets. Next up, some pop music. This came out in '82. I think a lot of people were salivating over Michael Jackson and whatnot, and I was more, as you can tell by the punk and the metal, I was kind of the outlier or the rebel, and I wanted to listen to what was different. And so what was different to me was Prince. This is 1999. This is a classic also from start to finish. You know the songs 1999, Little Red Corvette, Delirious. Those first 3 are just fantastic. But what really impressed me about this, which I didn't know at the time, but I came to know later, is Prince produced, arranged, composed, and he performed every song on here. And to do that for such a classic, to me that just showcases his talent and what a visionary he really was. Purple Rain is also a classic. I pretty much like everything he's done, but none of it comes close to the early stuff. And 1999, of course, was the song at the turn of the century. In 2000, everyone was playing the song nonstop, but can't go wrong with Prince, 1999. Next album, this is, speaking of Metalworks that I'm playing the background radio show, I first heard this band on this radio show, which is partially why I'm playing this in the background. Also, I need to know what that fucking song was again. But this is a band, I call them death metal, people call them thrash metal. I could see an argument for both sides. I don't really care what label you put on it. But Metalworks is a radio show, as I mentioned, that was on a college radio station, WPGU. And they had a show, it was called Metalworks. They was on at like midnight on a Tuesday or something. And of course I had school the next day. So what I would do is get my boombox ready with my blank tape, and I would have play and record held down and the pause button. So what that would do is get record ready. I would spin the tape right to where the clear part stops and the brown part begins, and make sure I didn't miss a minute of it. And I had one of those fancy ones that once side A was done recording, it would flip over to side B and continue recording. So I would miss 20 seconds of the radio show, but I would stay up till midnight, and as soon as the show started, I would take off the pause and I would go to sleep. Turn the volume down, obviously, because I'd want to listen in, and I would never go to sleep if that were the case. But the next day I got home from school, it would, since it recorded side A and then side B and stop automatically, I would flip over to side A and it was ready for me to go. And I heard Dead Embryonic Cells by Sepultura. They are a thrash / death metal band out of Brazil. This album came out in '91, So it was right towards the end of high school for me. And I just started listening to Metallica, probably a little bit of Anthrax. But I had not quite heard vocals like what I heard coming out of the speakers when I listened to Sepultura. And I thought, when I first listened to Metallica, I thought, the vocals, I don't really know if I can get used to that vocal style. And then I finally did, and then little did I know, death metal was just around the corner, and it's going to take some getting used to. So this is another one where the vocal style didn't really appeal to me at first, but the music was great. There's the back there. This is the original copy too. But it took me some time to get into. And once it got its hooks in me, the whole musical spectrum just opened up. I started listening to Death and Morbid Angel. Obituary was a big one. And yeah, so this album definitely guided my musical journey in many ways. It opened up my ears and eyes to what music and thrash and death metal could be. I didn't even know what black metal was yet. Even though it was technically out around this time, I was not exposed to it, unfortunately, until much later in life. But to me, this is a classic from stop to finish. Beneath the Remains, a lot of people like a lot, and I do too. To me, it's just not as flawless as Arise. The production on Arise is better. The songwriting's better. And overall, just a great band. So, yeah, number 5 for me is Arise, Sepultura. So that's it for my top 5, or my 5 most influential albums that help guide my musical taste. Subscribe to Jeff's channel below. He has a great channel. He does a lot of roundtable discussions with other YouTube guys about music that are fun to watch. Those are ones that I can put on and watch all the way through and not have to fast forward anything, which says a lot for an hour to 2 hour long video with 5 guys just talking about music. Sometimes I've seen some of these live streams that go like 8 hours. I'm like, I guess you could talk about music for 8 hours, but for me, these guys kind of keep it short and to the point. They pick a topic and stick to it, and I think that's pretty cool. Not knocking everyone that does the live streams, but I can't sit down and watch anyone for 8 hours. So that's it for my video. Again, that song I mentioned earlier, if anyone knows, please put in the comment section. It's driving me fucking nuts. And I think there's an app I can download to figure it out too, but whatever. If anyone knows, let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the journey. Let myself and Jeff know what your top 5 are that helped guide your musical journey. We all grew up in different times and have been exposed to different types of music through our life, so drop a video and we will catch you all very soon. Later.